Welcome back. My name is Jacob MacDonald. I'm Anything Lacrosse, and this is the game that never sits still. Today we have an exciting episode for episode 6. We got a deep dive into free agency. We're talking about the Austin Staats situation. We've also going to talk about what players are the most passionate to play for their teams, and we're going to finish up with a deep dive into the rookies this year. And I went through every draft pick from this last draft, and I just gave a little bit of insight and a little bit of where they came from and where they're going and all that kind of stuff. So check that out. I had that as one of the comments. They asked for an in-depth look into the rookies, so I figured that was a really good way to do it. And if you're listening right now and you have any ideas that you want to see on here, please put them in the comments. I'm reading it. I'm trying to see what you guys want, and we'll go from there. So if not, I've got a bunch of stuff. I got about 4 or 5 things that I didn't do on this podcast. This is going to be by far my longest podcast, and it's just me here sitting here talking. But when you do these deep dives, this is what happens. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to go right into free agency. We're going to get started with the free agency here. Now I'm going to do a deep dive into here, and I'm going to tell you 2 things, okay? Some signings aren't going to be on here because they're still coming out, but this is pretty much the good chunk of them. You kind of can see where the teams are shaping up at this point. There's still going to be, we got Matt Vince, for example, as one person that's really sought out for still. And is he going to resign or is he going to retire? I personally think the longer this goes, it looks like more retirement. Obviously, I had somebody else comment that they think it's the opposite. I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody pretty credible. And so, who knows? I think Matt Vince is the only one that knows, and I don't even think he knows, because if he did know, then he would be already out here. So I think that he's really just contemplating, right? I'm sure this is a hard decision for him, but I just don't see how you cannot try to go for 4 and even that 5th. So I'd like to see him sign a 2-year deal and run it, but with obviously the option to retire at the end of the year if they don't win the championship. So he doesn't have to, because if you're running for 5, it's a bit different. But if you come back and you lose or whatever, because at the end of the day, Buffalo did get slightly worse. I'm not going to count them out. Don't get me wrong. They're still a top tier team, but they lost, Frazier and Chris Clouder, and those are 2 big losses. So anyway, like I said, I am going to probably butcher some names. I do apologize. I'm trying to get better at that. Okay. Keep roasting me in the comments, and I will do my best to get better. Okay, so Buffalo Bandits, for re-signings, you have Kyle Buchanan, which signed a 1-year deal. You have Paul Dawson, 1 year. He's like a stay-at-home defenseman, a key piece to their thing. Kyle Buchanan is also a key piece. He's not, Dane Smith and Josh Byrne are the 2, they're the 1-2 guys. But Buchanan is a massive piece for them. And if they would have lost him and Frazier, that would have been pretty bad for them. So there's a lot of young guys coming up. So, but, in my opinion, to keep this going and to keep this rolling and trying to have a shot, Buchanan was a must sign for them after losing Frazier. We got Nick Weiss, signed a 1 year. He's really good on the loose balls, getting loose balls, which is an underrated stat in this league. You have Steve Orleman, which is a 1 year depth goalie behind Vince. You don't know what's going to happen with him. Obviously, I don't know if they have their guy yet, but we'll see what happens. They're going to need somebody at least. And then you got Taylor Dooley, 1 year, and he's just a young D and a transition guy. So, again, he'll get special team minutes. And again, this is another guy that maybe might be able to slip up and take a little bit of a more of a role this year and all that kind of stuff. Then you got rookie signings. You have Shognosh, 3-year entry-level deal, obviously. And then you've got Tyson, who's a forward, and he also signed his entry-level deal. So Sognosh is a guy that you might see, I don't think you're going to see him in the league this year by any means, but he's going to be a guy, he's like 6'6", I think it is. And I mean, they picked him up in the first round, so there's a reason they grabbed him there. When a goalie gets taken in the first round, you got to kind of consider that a very high praise for a goalie, okay? Next, we got Calgary. Now, Calgary, I've heard that a lot of their signings are coming out tomorrow, so probably when this video is out, this might be, or when this podcast is out, this might be changed, okay? And I know at least one loud Calgary fan that's going to let me know who I forgot, but shout out sports fan there, buddy, in my Discord. But passionate, man. Calgary fans are passionate, but they're probably the biggest loser of the free agency, honestly. Not their fault, and they're coming into, they're going to have to rebuild. I was told they traded their 2026 away pick, their first round pick over there, which is not great, honestly, especially in the situation they're in now. But you got to roll with the punches, and 2027 is a big draft as well. The best player, the future best player in the world's coming up in that, in my opinion. I know that's a big thing to say, but I truly do believe that in trade year. So anyway, that's a whole other conversation. I'm gonna do a whole video on that guy. So anyway, Calgary has re-signed Liam Leclerc to 2-year. He's a defender, PK when healthy, so he's got some injury issues in the past. And then you've got Davis McCauley, 3-year, and also a defenseman who can push into the transition and is obviously has pretty some size to him as well, right? So the other thing I want to say too is what I probably should have started with. Vegas has won the free agency. A lot of people say Vancouver won it, and don't get me wrong, they have taken themselves. Vancouver had a fantastic free agency, and it could even, you could almost even argue that it was the most impactful because it's going to push them over the edge, hopefully. And we're going to see that, right? That this season of how that plays out. But it should push them over the edge. And really, they're in my opinion, right now, Matt Vince, if he comes back, you can't knock Buffalo quite off there yet, being the 3-peat champions. But Vancouver's right there. Vancouver is, I would say, the favorite to win the championship right now. I won't take Buffalo off that spot, but Vancouver is a force to be reckoned with. Now, with that all being said, Las Vegas won the free agency. They are going to go from being last place to about 5th or 4th place this season, okay? That is a massive jump. They're going to be a playoff team this year. They're going to be competitive. They are going to be like, I just don't understand that Vancouver was already really good. And even without these 2 extra guys, I still think they'd be fighting for those semifinals, even to maybe make it into the finals. That's why I think they're going to be a really hard team to beat this year. I think they're the team to beat. They are phenomenal everywhere. They have a great transition guy. They have Del Bianco. Arguably, you could argue he's the best goalie in the league walking into this season. Okay, you have a great backup goalie in O'Connor if it comes to it. I know he's young, but he's good. You have amazing forwards, right? Keegan Ball is arguably I would just say he's just outside the conversation of being the greatest, or the best player in the world. So go out there and get it. 6 goals in 1 quarter last season. You don't see that out of anybody. That's not normal. That is not normal. Okay. And the additions they made, which we're going to get into, but anyway, I'm getting off topic. Anyway, next we got Colorado Mammoth. Okay. So the race signings, Dylan Ward, 2-year extension. Obviously he's a top 5 goalie of all time. And the funny thing, I don't think he's a top 5 goalie coming into the season. And I'm not saying that as a dig. I'm saying that as the goalie depth in this league is so good. You could really move probably 3 to 7 around, and you could argue either way. That's how good it is. There's 1, 2 goalies, and then 3 to 7 are kind of up in the air, right? Maybe 4 to 7. But anyway, not saying I could see the argument that he is a top 5 goalie walking into this league this year, but I personally put him at about 7 this year. But after I looked up his stats, 4th or 5th overall all day. Anyway, Dylan Ward to 2 more years. So this might be the last contract you see him sign. He is getting up there, and he's played a lot of games. This could be his last contract that you see him here. He's been an amazing elite goal scorer. Like I said, top 5 goalie of all time. This season, I don't know if he's a top 5 goalie this season, but all time he is. Not saying he's not. I think that 3, 4 spot to about 7 could be interchangeable between each other because of how good the goaltending depth is here in the NLL this year. But we can talk about that another time. Let's keep going. Robert Hope, 1 year. He's a captain. He plays top defensive minutes. He's, there's everything. You needed him to re-sign there, right? Jordan Gillies, 2-year deal, re-signed there as well. A big defensive leader in him. Tim Edwards re-signed, face-off specialist, Again, really solid defense. And that's what I said about Colorado. They have a solid defense. They've really built from the back end out, right? So, and then you've got Brian Cameron for 2 years. He's a little bit of a forward depth. You've got Dylan McIntosh, 2 years. He's a right hand guy with some range, man. He can hit that ball. He can hit those shots. He was acquired, then extended. You got Thomas Vela, 2 years, and he's just like a depth forward, secondary scoring. And you've got Ben MacDonald, 2 years, young forward, but he's developing. And that's the thing. If Colorado can really just up their offense a little bit this year, like they are going to be one hell of a scary team. That's what I love about this sport, man. Anybody, the middle top hack of this league is so tight. Like I'm thinking there's about four or well, now it's so hard. We'll go into that another time, but it kind of like, the top four teams are really top four teams. And then after that, all those teams, it's like between essentially like, that fifth spot and that 10th spot, you can kind of change those guys. Like it could be anywhere. It depends on how the season goes. New additions, Andrew Q in a trade. He's an elite lefty shooter. Right away, instant power play threat. So adds that to their game, which is what I was just saying. They need that extra scoring. And they traded Connor Kelly out. Easter signed a 2-year. Aaron Wood signed a 2-year. Ari Stevens signed a 3-year. Nathan Woods signed a 3-year, who's a defenseman. Brandon Saris, who is a forward, which we'll go into if he's going to be in the league this year or not, but I think he has the potential to be. Connor Knock, 3-year, which again, I can't, like Colorado getting Connor Knock at I think it was 10 is, I thought he was going to go 3. That was my pick for 3. Honestly, he's the best defenseman that come out of the draft this year, in my opinion. You have Jameson Bucktooth, forward, 3 years as well. So some big signings for them. A really good draft out of Colorado this year as well, which we're going to go into when we get into the rookies. But just Colorado, man, and you want to talk about swag, the nicest jerseys in the league are Colorado. I mean, there are some nice jerseys out there, don't get me wrong, but Colorado's, man, they just hit different. And one of my followers actually told me he's been to 12 different arenas, I think, and he said Colorado was his favorite, and it had the best experience and stuff. And obviously, that's just one opinion, but take it for what it is, right? Because Colorado kind of they're fighting an uphill battle trying to fly guys in and stuff to have to practice, so they don't even get full practices. They are fighting an uphill battle, and to be as good as they are while doing that is very impressive. So let's go. Georgia Swarm, you have Connor Kelly. Obviously, he was the other half of that trade, and he's a playmaker. Then you've got rookies. You got Keen Moon, which I can't believe he dropped as far as he did, for 3 years. Nathan Powers for 3 years. Devin Shanahan for 3 years, which is a goalie. You got Carter Page for 3 years. Nolan Byrne, 3 years. Alex Bean, 3 years. Ben Trumbull, 3 years, which is actually a really good defenseman as well. Caleb Benedict for 2 years. And I think I actually said Devin Shanahan for 3 years, but it says 1 year here. Sorry. So Georgia, obviously, really they're not doing too much. I don't know what the heck is going on in Georgia. I mean, they have the best player in the world down there, in my opinion. I think he's 33 now. I could be wrong on that. Maybe I am wrong. I'll have to look that up. But, it's sad to watch Lyle. He needs more help offensively out there, obviously. I mean, Brett Dobson's a fantastic goalie. I mean, you could, again, he could be a top 5 goalie this year. Like, really, realistically, look at his accolades in the PLL, or just what he just did for Canada in sixes. Like, he's a solid goalie. Georgia is going to be kind of that weird team this year. You don't know where they're going to end up because they have such immense talent. And that's kind of where I might be a little biased there, because I know how good they can be. Whether they'll actually perform at that level, we'll see. Because, at the end of the day, this league's so super hard, and but Lyle, I'm telling you, man, that guy is he can make a play out of nothing. He's a magic man, dude. It's insane. Anyway, we got Halifax Thunderbirds next. Halifax Thunderbirds are primed to win, I'm telling you. So they didn't really have that much to do, but they got Warren Hill for a 1-year extension. We're going to see what happens to him. He had a rough season last year personally. He's getting a lot of, and I'm talking about in comments and stuff like that when I post videos. He doesn't get enough respect, to be honest with you. I like him, and I think that people are underestimating Warren Hill, right? On top of it, he's such a good locker room guy, but with Warren Hill, like, he is a really solid goalie. He's a big guy, right? Is he the most mobile? No, but he's a good guy, and he's got some really good defensemen on that team, like, that aren't going to let people screw with him, and that are going to keep, you got to be careful if you're walking into Halifax. I'll tell you that, because the guys they got back there, they're going to hammer you. They're going to get in your face. And, I think Warren Hill, if he can have a good year, he could take them all the way. He really could. I do believe that. And I think that would be super, I think that would just be like such a good storyline. And you know how I am with storylines. I love them. So sells the game, all that stuff. Now, with that being said, I would have taken Nick Rose over him if Nick Rose decided to go to Halifax, which I don't think was ever on the table really. But I think that would have been an upgrade. Don't get me wrong. And only because, look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie when it comes to that. But I do think Warren Hill has what it takes to get Halifax there. And I know I might not be might be kind of sitting on my own island in here a little bit, from what I see. But I can tell you right now, that guy, do not sleep on Halifax. I think everyone's kind of forgotten about Halifax, because everyone in Saskatchewan, Halifax and Saskatchewan, a lot of people have forgotten about, because they haven't done a lot of flashy stuff this offseason. But I can tell you right now that they've already got the teams that can win the championship against Buffalo's team last year, right? That's what I was thinking. I was like, Saskatchewan and Halifax have really elevated, and these guys want to win. They're both passionate, and we're going to get into that. Anyway, sorry. Cole Kierst, he got an extension. It doesn't say how long. And he's just a big physical lefty. He's got some depth scoring there. Brandon Bomberry was the big pickup for them in the this year. And I think he's wanted to play there again. This is another one of these Six Nation guys that obviously, has ties there and stuff like that. So the passion is going to be there to play. I'm excited to watch him play. And, I've seen him a little bit, and he's absolutely fantastic. He's absolutely fantastic. You've got, and here we go, we're going to start butchering names. You've got Curtis Romanchich, 2-year utility forward, depth and versatility. So obviously another depth scorer, which is really all they need. Halifax already has some really big scorers that can do it all, like a lot of it, right? Jameson, Staats when he comes back, right? Christian Watts. Here's another guy that I want to talk about for a minute. He's not in the thing, but Christian Watts. I follow that guy on TikTok, and every day he's posting shooting videos. Every freaking day. I guarantee you, I don't know what the over is going to be for him to score this year. I'm taking it if I can. I commented on one of his videos. You're giving me free money. So, because he's really, if you go look at his stats, he's not really that main guy yet. But and I don't know if he's going to be that number 1, number 2 for Halifax. Don't get me wrong. But he's going to get a lot more playing time. He's looking fantastic, phenomenal. So shout out to him. And I'm hoping that I can see him get a lot more playing time, because he's dedicated. I've seen him all the time on here. He wants to play, and he's legit. He's so accurate with his shooting. You give him the ball, he's going to put it wherever you want him to. So shout it to him. I might get his jersey, to be honest with you. And then we got the rookies, ELCs. We got Peyton Tees, Levi Tuhi, Will McLeod, big defenseman. That's a big one. Austin Bloomberg, Stone Jacobs, Ashton Brown, Alex Q. All right, so again, Halifax is primed to win. They didn't need to do a lot in the offseason, in my opinion. Arguably they could have got a goalie upgrade. Other than that, I think they have a team. They are on my list. They're in contention. If I had to place them where they would be, it would be in contention. It wouldn't be. I'm not going to even say who's going to win, because you never know with lacrosse. You never know. You don't know how injuries are going to go. You don't know how the season's going to go. You don't know how the chemistry is going to go. All this stuff. There's a lot of factors that go into this, but I can tell you, Halifax has the advantage if they've been playing with the same guys for a long time now, a few seasons at least. And that gives them a massive advantage over a team like, let's say, Vancouver, that just all of a sudden are all coming together. When you get too many stars, you get too many chefs in the kitchen, sometimes it doesn't work out. You have those grindy guys. Now, don't get me wrong, scoring's always great. So hopefully, and on paper, that Vancouver should be X amount of the times better than everybody else. But with that being said, you never know what's going to happen, right? So I wouldn't count Halifax out, and I still put them in the top tier. Right, and it's going to be exciting to watch them this year. Okay, so now we got one of the biggest shows, the biggest winner of the free agency, in my opinion, the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. We have Mitch Jones, who, there was a lot of rumors speculating, flying around that he was going to come here. The Philly situation, we obviously went into that last episode pretty deep, so I'm not going to touch on that. But the Philly situation is, I think, is a big deterrent for these guys, and that's why Mitch Jones came here. He wanted to change, and he's seen, I think what they were kind of looking to do. And I think that's why he came. So good on him. Chase Frazier, I think he's part of the dynasty. He's won the championships. He's been there. So can he go over and be the guy is the main thing. That's my own opinion. This is not based off really anything. This is just me piecing things together. So I could be way off base here. Don't get me wrong. But I think Chase Frazier wanted to go be the guy. I think he wanted to be the leader, the one that, was going to tell everybody, not tell everybody what to do, but he wanted to be the one to show you, like, this is, I'm a 1-2 guy here. In Buffalo, he's never going to be that, being behind Smith and Burns. So that's just the way it is. So I get it. Chris Kluter, again, I think it was 2, maybe it was a 3-year deal, but that's same as Chase and Mitch. They're not showing what they signed for here, but that might just be, I might have missed it or whatever. It just says multi-year deal pretty much. So obviously, he's a fantastic player as well. Big power play guy, and he's going to definitely help elevate Las Vegas. And this is what I mean when I said they are, they're the winners. They're the ones that I think are going to get the most improvement out of free agency. Tony Malcolm is another big pickup for them. He's a transition guy, right? And he pushes the pace off turnovers. So he's really just, he's a good pickup for them. Tyrell Hammer Jackson, he's a re-sign, 2 years. He's a face-off specialist. Again, I've said this before. If I could be locked in a room with anybody, it wouldn't be him. Not because I'm sure he's a hell of a nice guy, but I've seen him on TikTok and he throws those logs around. The guy's a little freaking jacked animal. And I'm telling you right now, I would not want to be running against him. I would not want to be running up and absolutely getting destroyed by this kid. He's a good all-around player, don't get me wrong, but he has his really good things that he does. And being that, like, aggressive, get in there, not be afraid to get in there, use the body, that's him to a T. So, I wouldn't really poke the bear too much. And I think with all these additional really big scorers he has on the team now, he's going to be able to really get that grindy roll in, and he's going to do very well this season. We've also got Brandon Goodwin, and he's a transition face-off guy, or depth anyway. He's also veteran presence. So again, this team has gotten a lot more mature in this offseason. They've got young guys that are ready to go. They've got some older guys. Like, this is going to be an amazing team. Max Wayne, he's a big body defender, and he's obviously got a pretty decent size on him too. So big free agency by Vegas, honestly. Good for them. They've completely flipped the script on their franchise, and we're going to see I think we're going to see what it's going to look like when Vegas goes to playoffs this year, which is going to be amazing. So next, we've got the Ottawa Black Bears. Now, this is my hot take for the Black Bears this year. They're going to make the playoffs. I really, truly believe that. I don't know how you can't with Jeff T. Higgins, I think, is honestly, you could even argue that he's a top 3 goalie walking into the season. Top 5, in my opinion, pretty distinguishedly. But I like the eye test as well. I really liked him. I remember being every time I watched him last season, I remember being taken aback and just being like, wow, what a save. Wow, what a save. Wow, what a save. He really held Ottawa in there. And with their additions, I mean, they haven't added too much. They had that big trade before free agency, technically. But they re-signed Riley O'Connor. He's a veteran lefty. And obviously, he's a big glue to the offense. Then you've got Luke Keenan, transition guy, to a 3-year deal. Jake Saunders, defense, 2-year deal. And actually, Keenan has local ties. And then you've got Vaughn Harris. He's a 1-year deal, just like a depth forward guy. And this is the one that I'm going to butcher, so I apologize. Zach Herwithers, and 1-year left shooter with past 20-goal season. I apologize for butchering his name. I know I did. I do my best, but you guys can yell at me in the comments. And give me some engagement anyway. But yeah, I'm doing my best to learn these names. And as I watch more lacrosse, like I said, I will get better at these names. It's just, I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of listening. But some of the smaller guys that you don't get to hear as much, I find is harder to get their names down sometimes. So Philadelphia Wings, Phil Caputo was a massive pick, like, or a massive re-sign for them, right? So 2 years. He's obviously, we'll see what happens there. I mean, he's obviously really likes Philly as it is, and he's got faith they're gonna stay there, I think. So Eric Fennell, 2 years. He's a creator. He's a secondary quarterback. He gets out there. He's a big part of their team. Nick DeMude, goalie, 2 years. He's a good, solid goalie, honestly. He's got competition, and he's gonna, compete. We'll see what happens. Mike McConnell, transition, 2 years. Chris Colbell, defenseman, a year. Veteran leader. Mike McConnell has, transition speed and pushes the tempo of the game. Nathan Fair, shout out to him. He's following me on TikTok. He likes a lot of my stuff. 1 year deal, depth defender, and he's a penalty killer. From the little bit I do know about him, he's, again, he's got a lot of heart. He's gritty, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, the little interaction I have had with him has been very positive. He's a really nice guy, low key, all that kind of stuff. So shout out to him too as well. You got Mitchell Armstrong as a defenseman. He's a young size, or he's young. He's got size. Good defenseman. Then you got Deaconot for a year, and he's got some, just gives him some goalie depth in case something happens. And then you got Evan Messenger, 1 year. He's a depth righty, so he's got some depth scoring to him, obviously. And he's energetic. I will give him that. He doesn't stop moving. All right. So then you got the rookies. You've got Landon Sinfield, Sam LeClaire, Caden Brennan, Holden Patterson, Caleb Magnon, Bo Columbus. Bo Columbus was a nice pickup for these guys. A really nice pickup for these guys. I thought he was going to go to Vegas, to be honest with you. St. Delphi, Eddie Farade, Ben Krumer. They were all 3 years deals. And again, I apologize for the pronunciations because I know I'm going to butcher some of these names, okay? So yell at me. Yell at me in the comments. And Rochester Nighthawks, really, I think they've had a couple small signings, but I don't have anything down here. They came out and basically said they're not going to be splashing this year. They've got their team. I called them a glass cannon last season. I think they could use maybe a goaltender, maybe a little bit of high up on the back end a little bit, but their offense, it's the best pure offense in the league. Like they're on my dark horse to win it all next year. Like if I had to pick, if it's like, okay, pick one dark horse, you take away these top teams, who do you think out of these mixed teams are going to go all the way? Rochester would be that guy. Like if you're talking, you take the top three, 4 teams that I've been talking about out, and you throw me the rest of the league and say, okay, which one's got the best chance trying to, go all the way? It's going to be Rochester for me. They're just too powerful offensively. So once they get going, they really get going. San Diego Seals, you have Jake Govett, 1 year. He's a breakout scorer, right side pop and shorthand threat. You have Kellen LeClaire, 1 year. He's a stay-at-home defenseman, right? And he plays the top line minutes. You got Gaten Bradley, 1 year, a depth defenseman. You got Zach Deacon, 2 years, big defenseman, rotation regular. You got Dylan Watson, 2 years. He's a scoring lefty. And he's back from the IR list. You have Cam Dunkerley, goalie, 1 year, some goalie depth there. Jacob Power, which actually sounds pretty interesting. He's got 3 years activated, young left, depth minutes. And then you have Adam Noakes, 1 year depth forward. You have rookies as well. You have Robbie Turpin, Marquise White, and Noah Armitage for all 3 year deals. So San Diego, again, they added a couple things. They're overall pretty quiet, but again, San Diego is another team that I think they have a lot of their guys locked in. They've got Berg. He's really good. They have, I don't remember his name. It starts with an O, the goaltender right now. I can never say it. That's why it's like Ogledi or something. He's really good as well. Okay. I know I butchered his name probably. Okay. The goaltending actually there, he's in that mix. I would say he's right in that mix of goaltenders, right? So we'll see what happens with San Diego. San Diego, they're starting to build some rivalries over there with Vancouver, with Vegas, with Colorado. They're really trying to push that West Coast rivalry over there. So I like it. I like San Diego, and I always say like those yellow jerseys. I don't know if I love them or hate them. Part of me loves them, part of me hates them, but I don't know. Saskatchewan Rush. Now I'm going to tell you guys have a loud fan base, and yeah, I'm learning that. Your guys are very passionate yourselves as you play. I'm also learning that as well. So you have Saskatchewan Rush. You have Zach Mann's 2-year deal, top lefty scorer. Obviously, he's a big piece to that organization in their championship run last year. Which, in all fairness, they gave Buffalo a run for their money. You have Holden Garlett, 2 years, athletic defender, transition punch. You have Adam J, 2-year, and he's a reliable defender, and he's got size on the back end. You have Jarrett Smith, is a 2-year right shot defenseman, and he's really good in the penalty kill and getting loose balls as well. And then for rookies, you have Levi Versh, Justin Belair, Marcus Needham, Connor McClelland, Ryan Bernable, Bobby Kidd, the third. All those guys are 3 years. You have Brock Haley with a 1 year. Josh Zawada is a 1 year. Thomas Kizik, and I'm 1 year. I apologize if I butchered that name. Jake Nasso with a 1 year. Jake Boudreau with a 1 year. Clark Wader with a 1 year. Levi Anderson with a 1 year. Matthias Houlihan with a 3 year. So, again, they really have their guys for the most part. They definitely, Zach Mann obviously is a big acquisition they had to pick up. Garland, same thing. They had a couple really big guys in there, but for the most part, they're locked up. And this is a team that I wasn't going to add to the passion project here, like the one that I said had the most passionate players and something to play for. But their fans came out and told me otherwise, that they are a very tight-knit group. And that's true. So we added them in, but we'll talk about that more. We got Toronto Rock. You have re-signings. Nick Rose, this was massive for them. I don't know if this is really a re-signing. Actually, this is more of like technically it was a roughneck for the end of the season. They tried to let him go for a run since they didn't think they were going to do it. And he wants to be in Toronto, obviously. He loves it there. So 2 years. And I mean, it's funny though, the Toronto fan base, I'm a Leaf fan, right? So I understand how it works. But like, it's so funny. They're just trashing, like not all of them. It's about 50-50 split. But the ones that are happy about this, there's a lot of them that are happy, but there's a lot of them that are also like, he lets in big goals in big times. And I get that. It's frustrating. Leaf fan, hello. But at the end of the day, if you look at the numbers, I mean, he's got almost an 80 save percentage at and he's 37. Like, what else do you want from the kid? You know what I mean? Like, he's doing his job, in my opinion. Bill Hostowitzer. That's the best you're going to get. I don't know if that's right, but I did my best. So then you have Bill Hostowitzer. I apologize for the pronunciation again. We have a 1 year. He's just a veteran, He's good for matchup minutes, all that kind of stuff. So Vancouver, what everyone's waiting for. They've got Ryan Mattel for 1 year. He's a lefty scorer. Peyton Cormier for 1 year. He's a young power lefty. You have Alex Sakanis, 1 year deal. He's a faceoff specialist in depth. Reno Shinato, 1 year depth defender. Ryan Sheridan for 1 year, lefty depth returning from injury. And then you've got the new additions, the big boys. You got Curtis Dixon, multi-year, future Hall of Famer, Superman, all that kind of stuff. You have Jesse King, multi-year, and he's an elite lefty. QBs pairs with Dixon to reset top 6. You have Shane Simpson, which is a great transition guy. 2-year deal. He's a end-to-end threat. And then you have Reese Callies to a 2-year deal, and he's a big right shot defenseman. You also have Keegan Ball that re-signed there, because I know that's not on here, but that definitely is missing. That's the free agency, guys. And Vancouver is going to be scary this year. I think that they are. It's really interesting what's going to happen to them. So they're contenders. They're in the cream of the crop. Vancouver fans, you should be happy. We're going to be looking at like this for the next few seasons. So enjoy the ride. And in 3 years, we could even be talking about you guys looking at three-peats. So I won't jinx it, knock on wood. We'll see what happens. Okay. So next, that was a very in-depth version of the free agency. And, So we're not going to do that again. That's it. So if you want to come back to reference us later, feel free in episode 6. But episode 7, we'll touch on whoever hasn't been, whoever I missed, because I know there's a few, and put them in the comments, and then we'll go from there. But for this, I mean, free agency, I think we covered it pretty in depth. So if you guys let me know in the comments who you think won free agency. Vegas, it's Vegas, but if you think otherwise, if you have another opinion, because apparently there's other people's opinions out there, then let me know in the comments. All right, we're gonna go touch on the Austin Staats situation. Actually, we're gonna go pretty in depth, so I'm just gonna read you all the facts. I'm not gonna give you my opinion right away. Okay, is this guy, worth forgiving? He's got immense talent. I think everybody can agree with that. Is he worth forgiving? Has he learned his lesson? Is he working towards the steps in order to repent, or at least try to change from the person that this was? Or does he not deserve forgiveness? Should he just be ostracized from the league? Possibly one of his only real maybe tickets out of whatever situation he's in. I'm just going to give you a timeline of how this went, okay? So he's born April 23rd in 1998. He's age 27, first overall pick in the 2018 NLL draft, 2019 NLL Rookie of the Year with the San Diego Seals. So absolutely, guys, had immense high ceiling, high potential. May 10th, 2024, NLL issues a 7-game suspension after a late cross-check on Albany, August 11th to the 21st in 2024. Brantford, Ontario, showed up Brantford. Police arrest Staats and lay multiple charges: 3 counts of assault, 3 counts of assault with choking, 2 counts of uttering threats, forcible confinement, mischief, and failure to comply with a release order. Ontario court places a publication ban. So then August 21st, 2024, San Diego Seals acknowledge the incident publicly and defer to Canadian authorities. No further comment. June 19th to the 22nd, 2025, NLL announces an indefinite suspension for conduct detrimental to the league tied to off-floor incidences, says eligibility will be reassessed after the season and following the legal process. August 13th, 2025, San Diego issues a qualifying offer to obtain NLL rights to Staats. This does not clear him to play. It preserves team rights and suspension. So, they're just protecting their investment. Obviously, that's all this is. And that's just the business side of this thing. But here's a separate anti-doping note, okay? International play. World Lacrosse, ITA, reports a 3-month period of ineligibility, September 6th to December 5th, 2023, for an anti-doping violation unrelated to the 2024 arrest and 2025 NLL suspension. What is known versus what is unknown as of today. The charge lists the existence of a publication ban, the NLL's indefinite suspension, Seals qualifying offer plus rights move, and his age and his career profile. The unknown, any court outcome, plea / withdrawal / conviction / acquittal, no on-record result has been published by major outlets. Identifying of complaints barred from a publication ban. Now, I am going to tell you one thing here that I know specifically from down in the res there, or Sick Nations. There's a big law firm down there that 2 brothers run, the Staats. And I don't know, I'm assuming that they're related to him. Again, I don't know this. This is all speculation. But what I'm saying is, when I'm starting to read this and put this together, I will say that more than likely they're related to him. And obviously, you protect your own. You try to do your best you can. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. Again, I'm no shade to that law office by any means, because you're just doing your job and you're doing what's best for your client. Whether that bites him in the ass in the end with the public perspective is yet to be seen. But one thing I do want to mention with him too, though, is he's been taken under the wing by somebody. So basically, on Lacrosse Classified a couple weeks ago, I remember they were talking about this, how he's been taken under the wing of, kind of somebody respected in the community. I can't remember. It's a pretty big name in that community, and they're trying to help him get back on track. So again, that shows a little bit of, where he's at least trying to better himself, or trying to get help with whatever's going on in his life. Again, this is very This is a very touchy situation. That is the Austin Staats situation in a nutshell. Like, that's kind of what's out. Obviously, there's a publication ban. Obviously, everything's very hush hush. Now, I'm going to go into my opinion on this now. Now, this is just my opinion, right? I read you all the facts. I tried to keep it as unbiased as I could because I think when reporting, you just have to try to keep your bias out of it. Here are the facts of the case. You make a decision, right? Because people are going to have different opinions on this. This is a touchy situation. I'm assuming what happened was he got into an altercation with a girlfriend, somebody like that, right? Or it was said choking, it didn't say female or male. Or somebody, somebody was whatever, mouthing off to him, whatever. It's a hard situation because I have a hard time with this, is with this sports. When athletes do something wrong, they lose their jobs over it. To me, I don't think you should be idolizing athletes for their actions, for maybe the way they live their life, to be honest. I understand kids do, but I think that's more your job as a parent to try to explain that to your kids, that, it's not cool to what they're doing. I've heard drug rumors out there, obviously with the World Lacrosse thing, he got caught with some substances in his system that weren't supposed to be there. It'd be nice to see this come out. And again, I'm all about transparency in most things. If he really wants to show that he's changed, in my opinion, I think the best thing he could do is come out and apologize for it and say, he was under the influence or whatever. Take accountability. Don't blame it all on that, but take accountability and say he just wants to get his life back and he's trying to better his life for himself and his family. And if you come out and take accountability and genuinely you've shown that you're trying to take the steps and to get to move into the right direction, I don't personally see why he can't come back. We're all human. We all make mistakes. He comes from a different area that is, sometimes you don't grow up around the best people. And even if his family had money, like what I was saying with the lawyer thing, where he came from that, you've still got all these kids that don't have that. And you're hanging out with these kids. And a lot of these kids feel invincible because they're on the reservation and a lot of their families are in the police force there. It happens. I'm telling you, it happens. I've seen it with my own eyes. I know it. I know that, it is what it is. I'm not here I don't care, to be honest with you. Right? It is what it is. I'm a realist. I understand this shit happens. Okay? With that all being said, when you grow up around that and you think it's normal, when you go into what is the world thinks is normal or what is presented to be normal, it's overwhelming. He doesn't know how to deal with it, right? Now, am I saying that's a complete excuse? He should be able to do whatever he wants? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He needs to be held accountable. But if he can take accountability, like the stuff that's all public banned, I don't think that should have happened. I think that he's going to have to face his demons, man. In my opinion, that's the only way to come back and to not get the scrutiny away from it. Go in head first, face it head on, apologize, and everybody makes mistakes. Yes, was it messed up? Yes. But at the end of the day, he's an aggressive player. He can't be doing dirty shit on the box, though. That's another thing. He's going to be on a very short leash when he goes back, I would assume, by the league. Take away a gift that God or the Creator has given him, and to get a chance to not be able to play his game because of a couple months or him being really young and dumb and not having maybe the proper mentorship as he was growing up and developing to become a man. Hopefully this is a kick in the ass he needs. That's why I think coming out and showing that accountability and saying this is what happened, letting it be public record, at least letting some of it be public record, because they're trying to sweep this under the rug by the looks of things. And I don't personally think that's the way to go about it. Who the heck am I? I don't know. I'm not a PR team. I'm not anybody. I'm just a lacrosse fan. But at the end of the day, I personally hope that he can repent for what he's done and we can get him back in the league, because a kid at 26, 27 years old, or 27, I think now, he should not lose his career in the way he's going to make a good amount of money over a couple months that he was just not in the proper space. Now, again, I just know what I read. There might be a lot more lore out there that I'm not aware of. There might be a lot of, different things. Again, I didn't get to see him play in the league when he came in. I don't know how dirty he was. Obviously, if he cross-checked somebody in the head, that's not the best thing to do. You need to keep the players safe. But if he can come back and he's safe and he's tried to repent, then what are you going to do for the kid, right? So, again, just my opinion, okay? I probably talked a little bit out of my depth here. I do have a decent understanding of that area because I'm from there. I'm from Hamilton, but I grew up, I spent 10 years in Brantford. My wife's from Brantford. My family's from Brantford. My grandparents, both sets. Shout out Mike on a Bike is my uncle, if anybody knows him in Brantford. You need to give this kid another chance if he's really repainted, okay? So anyway, that's where we're going to leave that. And Austin, I wish you the best, buddy. I really do. And I really hope I didn't offend anybody by this shit, but it is what it is, boys. This is just one guy's opinion, okay? Next thing we're going to talk about is passion and culture and passionate players and how they're buying into these cultures. So there's a few teams that I think the players are a little bit more invested in playing in rather than other wings. I don't mean that in that when a player goes somewhere, like if someone goes to Vegas, they're not invested in playing there. No, but what I'm talking about is this is where a group of guys will get drawn to an area because for a certain reason, whether that be they live there or they grew up there, whether that be it's their culture, it's their people that are the owners of these teams, so they want to go represent their people, their home areas. Stay tuned, we'll get into that in a minute. All right, so this one's going to be interesting. So I want to tell you guys that I am a fan first, okay? I am just a fan. I am not a former player. I just watch the game and I enjoy it. So this is just my take on things, okay? So don't kill me, players, if you watch this and you think I'm chirping you because you're playing, not for super passion, okay? Prove me wrong. Make me a video. Send me a message. Tell me how much I'm wrong. I would love to hear from you guys. And even better, come yell at me at the podcast. I'll bring you on. You can yell at me. You can tell me how passionate you are, and I'll apologize for being wrong. With all that being said, the disclaimer out of the way. We have about 5 different franchises right now that are a little bit different, the players there. I think they've really bought into the culture, and whether that is because their heritage or their people play there or just the way the way it's been set up by a fan base, or just that they're a group of guys that really are tight knit and have played together for a while. So I'm going to go through all these different teams that I'm talking about here, and you tell me which one you think has the most passionate players. And if it's not this team, if it's not any of these teams, you tell me who you think it is, because I think that these guys are playing for a little bit more in a sense than some of the other teams are. And again, not saying they don't have a chance, not saying they don't have a great cause to play for, but it's just these teams are a little bit different. Saskatchewan. You've got Saskatchewan, and Saskatchewan is a little bit different than these other teams I'm going to talk about, but Saskatchewan is still bought in, right? So, and I've been told by their fan base that their players, especially Robert Church, is super bought in. Derek Keenan's done a great job. They're selling the dream of this, and I do think that they're going to do very well. They're going to be the team to beat this year, one of them at least. They're going to Vancouver, Buffalo, Saskatchewan, Halifax, right? Those are the teams, and coincidentally, those are also the teams that are really have this going right now. But Saskatchewan, they, all those guys really bought in. They're ready to win. They've been, they're core together, and they're going to try to go all the way this year. So that's why I kind of put them in like an honorable mention slot almost, because the other ones have a little bit deeper of ties in my opinion. But I got yelled at quite a bit by the Saskatchewan fans that these guys were super passionate about playing there. And I know they are. I do know they are. And I know a lot of fan bases are, honestly. But Saskatchewan, I think they do. Just because the way they're set up, they were like right there. They could have won last year. They could have beat Buffalo realistically. They're the only team that had a shot. And they just came up just a little short. Sheliano was in the, again, just came just a little bit short for the Man Cup as well. So he's going to come back itching to win a championship. So I wouldn't count him out too much. The next crew we're going to talk about is the Buffalo Bandits. The Buffalo Bandits have sold this culture. Like, they really have. You've got John Tavares as the head coach and also the top scorer for the best player ever, arguably. Then you got Steve Dyrich, which is a Hall of Fame goalie that played with Tavares. Is the GM. Dane Smith and Josh Burns as the really core guys there. And they love it. They love it there. They do. They've integrated there very well. All these guys have bought into this, to the Buffalo, and Buffalo's fan base is amazing. And that what happens to Buffalo is they incorporate, once somebody kind of retires, there's a lifer there, they incorporate them into the front office, which so it's kind of a nice thing knowing that you're gonna, being a top player, you have that option of going to the front office. They've already talked about it with Matt Vince, right? That he's always going to be part of that organization, even when he's going to be retired as a player. Whether they bring him in as a goalie coach or bring him as like more management, upper management, who knows, right? But they're going to find a spot for him in that organization, and that's what breeds culture there. Is because once you're a bandit like that, you're a bandit for life, right? So that's, again, they're a little bit different. Their fan base is the highest. It's just different. It's like, I always compare it. It's like Toronto Maple Leafs going, their fan base. They're big, they're loud, and it's just different playing there. And when you buy right into that, and they've brought them a three-peat champion, come on. Like, it's just amazing. And that building's packed, and they can go for 4 this year. The Vancouver Warriors, obviously they have all the hometown boys now, right? So got Curtis Dixon, who's from Coquitlam, BC. You've got Jesse King, who's from Victoria. That's where I was born. Shout out, Jesse. Keegan Ball, Lower Mainland ties, right? So, and then you've got Brett Madiques, and he's got New Westminster, BC. And I know I probably butchered his name too. I apologize. Obviously, with all that, with your core guys like that, all, from the area, and I'm pretty sure Bianco might even be from that area, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, it's when you're all from that area, it's just, it gives you more passion. You know what it's like to be a fan probably of that team. So you're going there, you're trying to win, you're trying, you're representing your city, you're representing where you're from. It just gives you that extra kick in the ass to get out there and do your fucking job. And that's what it is. Got the Rochester Nighthawks. Again, this is another team that was bought by the Seneca Nation this year. You've seen Zed go over there. I know there's a few other guys over there from that Seneca Nation as well. And you're going to see them. They're going to be their team, that whoever wants to play for that team. That's what the really interesting thing is about this sport, is that it's such a cultural, like, there's so much culture that goes into lacrosse that these guys will, I guarantee you, these guys will give up money. And whether they've got to live somewhere they don't want to, or want to travel there or whatever, they're going to do it in order to play for the team. So you're going to, not everybody, but you're going to have guys that are going to do that. It's very, very cultural, this lacrosse. And my nephew always says it. And I really took this, I listened to him when he said this. He said, when I'm out there playing this game, I don't play it for game. It's a show for the elders. So I want to put on a show, and he's good, right? He played junior B in Ontario. He's a solid, I think he was like a 2-point guy in junior B. Right. So he is a solid lacrosse player, but he still has this passion, this respect, and all this stuff for this. Again, it's a different type of thing for these guys. These Seneca Nation boys are all going to be playing in Rochester, and that's scary going down the road here. And Zed adding to that offense already. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Lacrosse is going to be so fun this year. And then finally, we have Halifax Thunderbirds, and they're the Six Nation boys over there, man. And they got, Warren Hill from Six Nations. They got Cody Jameson. They got Randy Stotts. They got Tyson Bell, which I thought Tyson Bell was native. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it says he's born in Burlington, so maybe he has some native blood in there. But he plays with the Chiefs. He plays on this team. He's got to be an honorary native guy, at least at this point, I would think. And then you got Brandon Bomberry. I mean, that's a massive addition for Halifax. And again, another guy that's coming in, that's playing for passion, that's from the Six Nations, that, it's just different. I don't know how to explain it to you boys. Like, I mean, some of you know what I'm talking about, I'm assuming, at least. But it's, when you hear these guys talk about the game, it's at such a different, it's just such a different respect level. It really is. So I think those are the 5 fan bases, arguably 4 with Saskatchewan, to be honest, but that have these deep-rooted meanings. And I still even think I'd put Vancouver, Rochester, and Halifax even above Buffalo as well. Put Buffalo and Saskatchewan in that same category. Maybe more, like I said, like Saskatchewan kind of a little bit lower or whatever. just because Buffalo is such a just that in-depth culture where they've played there and now they're in the management there. You're going to see the same thing. Vancouver, you have all the hometown boys there. You have, the Seneca boys in Rochester, and now you have all the fucking Six Nation boys in Halifax, pretty much. Not all of them. There's other players spread around the league, but it would be an honor if you were part of that to be a part of that. So, and all these teams are good. Rochester's good. Vancouver's good. Halifax is good. Buffalo's good. Saskatchewan's good. All these guys that have the extra passion I'm talking about are the ones that are in that creme de la crop, or they're in the top part of this league. And so other teams, you have to look in. What are you going to do to give your players an extra edge to try to sell them on this passion, right? I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if you can, to be honest with you. How do you take into account for thousands of years of history? You can't. It's impossible, right? That's why I put like Halifax and Rochester a little bit ahead of everybody else. And then Buffalo is just the culture they've created there. And then, Vancouver with all the hometown boys. Again, that's another thing that's really hard to break. You're playing for your people, essentially, right? So anyway, that's a little bit on that. You guys tell me how crazy I am for that one, but and how wrong I am or how right I am. I don't know. Am I way out of my depth here? Have I said some politically incorrect things? Probably. That's me though. I won't. It is what it is. My wife's native. My kids are technically native. My brother-in-law is native. Like, whatever. Can't call me a racist, buddy. So anyway, all kidding aside though, I'm pumped for all these teams, and whatever team ends up winning out of these 5, hopefully, it's just gonna be that much more special. So anyway, so we're gonna do. It's going a long time. I'm going to run through the NLL rookies because I did say I was going to do that. Get right into that right now. All right, so I have a massive in-depth report on the NLL rookies, but this podcast has already been quite long enough. I'm going to run through this. If you guys want more in-depth in this, I can go more into depth in this, go into stats and all that stuff. But I think for what it is, I'm going to go through every draft pick, okay? So we got instant impactors. We got like some rotation, some depth guys that I think where they're going to sit. And then we've got some guys that are going to be like practice roster, maybe some depth guys. That's where you kind of get maybe a diamond in the rough. Who knows, right? But you're going to have to work for it at this point. So let's talk about the instant impact guys first. So we got CJ Kier's, Toronto drafted him. I'm not going to really go into him too much because he's been talked about so much. He's number 1 draft for a reason. Broken all these records at Cornell. Also played with Mimico Mountaineers Junior A. So he's just fantastic. And I can't see him going back to the NCAA, but you never know. I don't think he's eligible for some reason. Ty English already has said he's going back. He's an amazing player. I watched him play in the super, I think it was, no, the Sixes tournament with Puerto Rico and stuff. Fantastic was probably the second best player on the whole team next to Jeff Teat. So massive. Owen Hiltz has played in this trade was from Philadelphia. He played in Syracuse, which is huge. That's the place to be down in the States, basically, for lacrosse. And he also played for the Peterborough Lakers, which is another one in the MSL. They're really, really good. And he's probably going to be a contributor right away, as long as he wants to. Who knows? He might come in later this season. I'm not sure, but he probably going to get. I think he's ready right now, and I think that's why they drafted him there instead of picking someone that needed development. I think he's ready to slide in right now. Out of even the top 3 guys, I think he's the guy that slides in right now. I think CJ Kier's does as well too, though. 4th, you have Las Vegas picking Casey Wilson, who's going back. I know is planning on going back. I know he's said he's going back, but we'll see what happens. Maybe if they want him to play and they think, he thinks if he's an added piece of that team, he might be able to push them over the edge. I don't know, but I could see him going back to school, doing his thing, and then coming back at the end of the season, helping them make a run in the playoffs. Brandon Saris, another guy that is probably going to be a key contributor early. They've got, he's going to be that slot in there for Zed. that missing piece there. And I think that's why they picked him up. And Brandon Saris, to be honest with you, the fact that he dropped all the way to fifth is absolutely steal. Alex Mariner with Halifax Thunderbirds. He probably was a little bit higher in this draft. A lot of people said he was the best one next to CJ Kirst, but he was unfortunately needed an extra year. And some of these guys at this top end talent, they want them to come in right away. And so Halifax is in the win now thing. So and they've got a lot of talent. So I think this was a smart move by picking him up and just letting him develop and bring him into what will be a veteran presence and be able to show him the ropes. Then we got Ben Trumbull, which was the first defenseman taken. And I mean, he's a big boy, man. He can hit. He played for, Syracuse. Or sorry, he played for the Peterborough Lakers, which is no joke. They're a really good organization there. And he's going to be an immediate guy that jumps right in. And he's cleared to join the NLL. No NCAA conflict. Nolan Byrne, which again, another one. That's a nice little pickup for Georgia. These guys are so talented in this top end. These guys are all instant impactors that can just jump in day one. And if camp goes good well for him, he's going to be there. Noah Manning. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Noah's probably good enough to jump in right now. Should he? No. Calgary. I mean, they don't have their pick anyway this year, I guess, but I don't know. I think whatever is going to help him develop the most is the thing you do for him. Connor Knock at 10. I thought he was going to go third. That Toronto's going to pick him up. I think he's the best defenseman in the draft this year. And I mean, he played for Quincy and Owen Sound North Stars in the MSL. And he's going to be a guy, as long as his camp goes well, he'll be on that team. As long as he doesn't want to go back, right? Will McLeod for, again, another 12 Thunderbirds. He's a guy that could actually step right in, I think. And I think that's why they picked him here, was because Mariner's obviously going to, take a little bit more time to simmer, but McLeod's ready to go. So I think you're going to see him as a nice in there. Hopefully I can get in there and maybe have a word with him. That'd be nice. That'd be cool to see his experience from here too. Kyle Pepper, Calgary, from Vancouver. He's a transition guy. And I mean, he played for the Victoria Shamrocks. So again, a massive WLA team. So he's already played at that high level box lacrosse. And, I do think that he's probably going to get in the rotation. This is where we get into more rotation depth players. But Kyle Pepper's on the brink there. You might see him have a big camp and jump in. You also might see him develop, and I'm for more his development myself. Then you have 13. You have Levi Verish, Saskatchewan. I mean, he plays from St. Joseph's and Nanaimo Timbermen, which is another WLA team. And depending on how he goes, he might get some minutes. But again, that Saskatchewan roster is going to be really hard to crack. Bo Columbus at 15th. He is Philadelphia Wings picked him up, which I thought Vegas was going to steal him, honestly. He's a defensive specialist, or he's a face-off specialist defenseman. And so it kind of gives you that nice, combination. And he's a defenseman, but he can also take a face-off. So it's kind of that extra little edge. He played for Robert Morris and Brooklyn LC, the MSL. He's probably going to rotate in and see how his camp goes and all that stuff and go from there. But he's more probably of a depth player. Jeremy Phoenix Lefebvre, Georgia Swarm from Halifax via Rochester. And he is a transition guy. He's from drafted by the Georgia Swarm. And he played in Mercyhurst and the Coburg Kodiaks in the MSL. He could be used. We'll see what happens there. Swarm need some help. So anything to help get Lyle the ball and get their other boys up there and get the game moving, right? Arnie Steenhanis. Again, I don't know if I said that completely right, but he's a transition guy from St. Catharines, Junior A, and he's on the radar as well. He's going to be given the chance, so we'll see. And he's got no NCAA conflict. You got Mick Kelly with the Vancouver Warriors from Las Vegas. and he is from the University of Denver. And we'll see if he gets in. With all those new additions, I don't know if he's going to get in there, but we'll see. And you've got Hugh Kelleher by the Toronto Rock. He's from Cornell, so one of Kiers's teammates. So that's kind of a cool little piece. And maybe if they've already got really good chem together, you might see them both get in. So we'll see. Then you've got Coltrane Tyson from the Buffalo Bandits. On how everything falls in camp, he could rotate in. These players are so tight when it comes to skill level that it's hard to say one or the other. Julian Belair is from the Saskatchewan Rush. From the Saskatchewan Rush. He's a forward. He's played for the Whippy Warriors, Junior A, and again, same kind of thing. He could fight for minutes. Ben Sonnen for Las Vegas. He was drafted from Colorado. And he is a Salmon Belly as well. So again, he had a really big final, obviously, trying to win it with them. And he's ready to go to the NLL too. So he's already played on a big stage like that. So that's going to be a nice little pickup for Vegas as well. He'll be fighting for a spot. Then you have at 24, you have Adam Thistlethwaite for the Rochester Nighthawks. Again, a great little pickup for them. Played for University of Albany, played for Peterborough Lakers. And again, he's probably going to fight for minutes. Then you have Chris Kavanaugh. Guy's a fucking animal. I think this is actually the first guy that doesn't have any box experience, maybe. Yeah, so he's from Notre Dame, and I don't think he has any box experience, but he's got high credentials there. And he's probably going to return to the NCAA this year. Then you have Aiden MacDonald, which is Georgia Swarm, and depends, dude. He's probably going to get to rotate in and see. You got Stuart Phillips with Colorado Mammoth, and he's an offenseman. And again, he could fight, but we're starting to get down here a little bit. Jordan Vincent, Calgary, nice little steal by them. He's might be fighting for some minutes. We'll see. Then you got Jameson Bucktooth, Colorado Mammoth again from Halifax via Panther City via Firewolves. So that was that picks moved around. Jameson, he's in a forward, and he's from St. Catharines Junior A, and he's likely to rotate in minutes, but we'll see. Camp's a big deal for these guys. They got a lot to do here. Nathan Miller from Vancouver Warriors from Saskatchewan. He's a big defenseman, and he played for the Adenaks. And he's probably Junior A lacrosse, top lacrosse. Jimmy Freehill, Buffalo Bandits. He's a defenseman. He played at the University of Denver, and you know what? Depends on what Buffalo's going to look like. You might be able to squeak in there. Liam Aston, Ottawa Black Bears from Panther City. He is a forward, and he's plays for the Toronto Junior Beaches, which is huge, Junior A. And so he'll probably end up locking in there and trying to get some minutes as well out of Ottawa. Then you have Grayson Stokes, Las Vegas Desert Dogs. And he's from the Orangeville Northmen Junior A, likely to rotate in and earn minutes as the season progresses. Status is clear to join the NLL. So no NCAA issues there. Then you have Isaiah Moran Weeks, and he was drafted by Toronto Rock again in the second round, and we'll see what he does in camp. You got Jackson Fridge at Albany Firewolves. This kid, I'm actually surprised he fell this far. He's a big defenseman, and not Albany, sorry, Oshawa. Oshawa got a killer kid in this one, and they do need a little bit of help on the back end, so you might see him sneak in there. Then you got Andrew Dalton to Ottawa Black Bears from the Firewolves, and again, another big defenseman here. And we'll see. He's probably going to return to the NCAA. You got Dante Koulis at 38. And again, the Oshawa Firewolves have him. He's from Rutgers and Coburg Kodiaks in the MSL. And he might be fighting for some minutes in there just because of the depth they need. But we'll see. Carter Coffey, Buffalo Bandits, from from Ottawa, and he played for Orangeville Northman Junior A, which they were fantastic. He can fight his way and scrape his way. Buffalo, even they've opened some spots, so we'll see. You got Ben Cromer from the Philadelphia Wings, and it's from San Diego as the pick. And yeah, in Ottawa, I guess. So Ottawa's original pick anyway. But he played for the Whitby Warriors Junior A, likely to rotate in and earn minutes. We'll see what happens there. Keen Moon, I can't believe he fell to 41. That kid should never have fallen this far. And it's wild. I mean, Georgia got an absolute steal in him, and I'm actually excited to see him play. I think he is actually going to make the roster, honestly. That's one of my hot takes for this, unless he goes back. But actually, no, he's not eligible for the NCAA, so he's good. He's going to be playing on roster this year in Georgia, and that's going to be really interesting to see. I like that. Brian Simmons in Colorado, from Colorado Mammoth, and he's a defenseman. Again, pretty big guy. He's a pretty solid defenseman. They've added depth to there, which they're already kind of so good at it. They got Seth Martineau for the Rochester Nighthawks on defense, and that's what they needed to pick up. They need to really bolster that defense and maybe get a goaltender. Then you have Matthew Pilato on the Colorado Mammoth, and he's a defenseman as well. And the Mammoth, there's some opportunities to get in there. You have Ethan Lee for Halifax in round 2. He's a defenseman as well. He played for the Whitby Warriors Junior A, so he's got top playing experience here. You got Andrew Mikadori for the midfield. So he played midfield. So he plays more of a field game. He's from Duke, and he never looks like he hasn't played box. So that's not the worst thing. Don't get me wrong. There's players that can play field and come over and play box, and they're fine. But it's just a bit harder. But he is a defenseman, or he's a midfielder. So I find those guys, that's the hardest. Like the long stick midfielder guys, that's the hardest position to really transition to the NLL4 or the box lacrosse style, because you're used to having this massive stick. That's what she said. Mitchell Dunham, Rochester Nighthawks from the Buffalo Bandits, and he played in Richmond, and again more depth for Rochester. And then that's pretty much, those are the guys that are those are the kind of guys that can still be impactful, that they're going to be depth guys. They could maybe fight for those minutes on the team, right? They're not the stars, like I mentioned in the first 12 picks or whatever kind of deal. But after that, they are the guys that can still contribute and could be really keys. And there might be some really good diamonds in the rough here. So these guys, from here on out, I'm just going to read them off, because it just gets I just can't go into the super detail with everybody. If you guys want more detail, I'll do a whole podcast on just rookies, because it's a lot. I've got a lot of stats here. It's just the podcast would be fucking 4 hours. So anyway, so we got Logan Mellish with the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. You got Jack Royer taking 49th. Caden Brennan. These guys are all considered like practice roster guys and developmental guys. Courtier McKay at 51. You got Joe Jurgensen at 52 by Colorado Mammoth. You got 53 Aiden Fearn with Ottawa. He's a defenseman. Ben Ramsey with San Diego at 54. Another big defenseman. Cole Bagley at 55 for the Ottawa Black Bears. Lucas, which is a defenseman. Lucas Olson, which is forward. That's actually not a bad pickup there for Calgary. I like that pickup. You got 57. You got Amos Wickholm with the Rochester Nighthawks. More offensive depth there. Jaden LeBerg from Vancouver Warriors. He's a transition guy. Levy Tooley with the Levy Tui with the Halifax Thunderbirds, and he's a defenseman. Absolutely. That's actually a nice pickup too. I've seen a little bit of stuff on him, and he looks pretty good. You got Jaden Kennedy. He's from Onondaga, so you gotta love that. He's by the Buffalo Bandits. That's a nice little sneaky pick, honestly. You got Curtis Ward for the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. in the first round, the first pick of the 5th round. Then you got Kobe, and he's a forward. Sorry, Ward is. Then you got Kobe Hansor for the Toronto Rock. Again, Zane Dalfi at 64 for Philadelphia Wings. He's a forward. Hayden Summers Thompson for the Oshawa Firewolves. And he's a defenseman. He's also got MSL experience, so that's pretty good. You've got Cayman Diabo, Colorado Mammoth. He's a forward, which is what they need help on. Bobby Van Buren, Georgia Swarm. He's a defenseman, sorry. Then you got Eddie Q. He's a forward as well. He's for the San Diego Seals at 68. 69 is Elijah Brown for the Ottawa Black Bears. He's a forward. Hudson Shivers by Calgary at 70. He's a defenseman, a big defenseman. Played in the WLA. 71, OJ Morris, Rochester Nighthawks. He's a forward, drafted by the Rochester Nighthawks, and another guy that's some depth for them. Ben Gagnon in defense for the Vancouver Warriors at 72. Played for the Langley Thunder Junior A. Again, a nice little development piece at this pick. Peyton Tace, which is Halifax Thunderbirds, defenseman. Again, this is just kind of he's going to go back to the NCAA this season. Then you got David Burr with Buffalo Bandits, and he's another forward. Liam Keane, which is another Buffalo Bandits pick, which is another forward. And then you've got Dakota Ellerman for the Toronto Rock at 77. You've got you got Eddie Farade with the defenseman for the Philadelphia Wings. You got Hall Francis and with the Oshawa Firewolves, and he's a forward. And you got Christopher Davis. He's a midfielder, another midfielder, second one in this draft. And those guys have the hardest time transitioning. They do. I wish them the best, but this is the case. Colorado Mammoth. He's from Cornell as well, so played with Mr. CJ Kirst. And then you got Max Skeen, Ottawa Black Bears, defenseman. So they're really loading up at defense, these guys. Nathan Powers, Eddie Third, Georgia Swarm. He's a forward, which again, just get people in there and get them to try. Clifford Gaston, he's a forward. He got taken by Rochester at 86. 87 is Jack Charbonneau. He got Halifax Thunderbirds taking him at 87. He's a forward, played in WLA, big guy. Deegan Carlson, he's also a forward by Saskatchewan at 88, sorry. And he played for Maryville. And then you got Caleb Melon with the Philadelphia Wings. He's got the last pick, 89th in the draft. And he's a defenseman. So he's played senior B. All these guys have top boxes. Most of them have top box. If they don't, they have really good field accolades. So I ran through that quicker than I was originally going to do, but I'm telling you right now, guys, we would be here all night. I've got so much on them. So if you want in-depth more, I'll do like an actual in-depth, go through everybody's stats, but it's going to be a one-off, just a free agency or just a draft, like recap. I'll do the whole video and it'll be just that. So if there's enough people wanting it, if not, I hope that kind of gave you a little bit, and you can go from there. Obviously I think I missed Shognosh there. I'm sure somebody's going to mention that in the comments. He was like 14th or something. He didn't come up as a goalie. I think they kind of left goalies off this list or whatever when I was asking for it. So anyway, with that being said, let's just go to the final and let's get out of here, because this has been a very long podcast. But when you do these deep dives, this is what happens. It becomes long and detailed. And I've got about 4 or 5 things I didn't even touch in this podcast that I had to push to the next one. And yeah, anyway, we'll talk about that. But anyway, right now we're going to go into the Anything Lacrosse Award of the Week. So it took me to episode 6 to figure this out, but I want to do like an Anything Lacrosse Award. And what this is just every week or every time I get on a podcast, I'm just going to start giving it out. Sometimes it'll be a team. Sometimes it'll be an individual player. Sometimes it might be a coach or a GM. Who knows? It's really whoever has impressed me the most. So that's all it is. Okay. With that being said, I have to give the first official Anything Lacrosse Award goes to the Vancouver Warriors. Now, this is kind of self-explanatory. As much as I think free agency was won by Vegas, I do think that Vancouver has done enough to push them over the edge and to give them the best shot they can to win the championship. I don't think that's really debatable. Vancouver is now absolutely scared. When you already had Keegan Ball, you have already had Del Bianco, which is arguably the best goalie coming into this season. And then you add these guys like Jesse King and Curtis Dixon and Simpson and all this stuff. Like it's so, they added so much and so many key pieces in the hometown aspect to it that I just won't bet against them. The Anything Lacrosse Award, like I said, good job, Vancouver. You've earned it. And as much as I say Vegas has won it, I think that, hey, you guys winning the championship this year, all roads lead through Buffalo to get to the championship. But if any team could do it right now, in my opinion, it's got to be you guys. You guys are Saskatchewan. So, yeah, you guys are just, wow. The moves that you guys have made is absolutely fantastic. So shout out all the boys over there. Shout out Mr. O'Connor in Vancouver. He was one of the first players that followed me on TikTok. And yeah, so let's go right into it. We're going to say our goodbyes now. And this has been a fantastic podcast. My name is Jacob MacDonald. I'm Anything Lacrosse, and this is the game that never sits still. Let's go. See you guys next time.